What's up, disc golfers? Joe here with Joe's Disc Golf, and holy macaroni, we've got a full lineup today. So many things to talk about here. And that includes, I don't know if you saw it, but that Ringer article all about disc golf and niche sports, mostly about Paul Macbeth, because well, he's the face of disc golf. Let's be real there. We also have some new qualifiers for USDGC as well as the Throw Pink National Championships there. Spoiler alerts here. James Conrad and Katrina Allen both go ahead and take home the title of World Champion in disc golf. Yes, we can call that a world championship because we had a pair of international athletes performing alongside of them. And not to be outdone there, we also are going to talk about Junior Worlds, which is happening in Emporia, Kansas. That's coming up here in about a week and a half or so. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have a whole bunch of frustrated players. So many frustrated players. I don't know if you were on social media, but everybody was talking about how for lack of a better way to put it, the PDGA has dropped the ball big time when it comes to Worlds. And yeah, I don't have any issues talking about that, but you know what I have to talk about here is our lovely sponsor here. We're talking about Log. Sponsoring the wooden desk. What rolls downstairs? A loner in pairs rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack? And it fits on your back. It's log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood, it's log from Blammo. Yep, that's about all we got there. Hashtag not a real sponsor. Got to do that because, people are crazy. YouTube is dumb. Twitch is dumb. Sometimes people are dumb, but you as the individual, you're smart. I really enjoy the quote from Men in Black. Great movie. When well, Tommy Lee Jones says a person is smart, people are panicky and dumb. Paraphrase there. But I really tend to agree with that. Did you get out and play any disc golf? Oh man, it has been another hot, humid one here. I managed to get out and play just a little bit. Unfortunately, it was very hot, very humid, and not that fun to play. However, playing disc golf is fun. The weather conditions were less than ideal, to say the least. However, we were able to get in a flex start C tier, which I did all right. Unfortunately, there was a card of cheaters that ended up beating most people there. It was really unfortunate to see. It's a flex start C tier where the prize is a water bottle, and you felt like you had to cheat to get a water bottle. Do you really need a water bottle that bad? I will spend $20 to give you a water bottle. Thank you for tanking my rating by cheating your ass off. I appreciate that. I have no tolerance for cheaters. Honest mistakes do happen on occasion where, you might miscount on a hole or something like that happens. It does happen. We're all human. But when you say you take a you basically just don't count a handful of strokes every hole across the card. It's rather frustrating and makes me not want to play in any tournament that you sign up for or play in an area where the club allows that. And it is my understanding that that club knows about this now and needed some hard proof. And fortunately, they got it. And it sounds like they are going to be sanctioning these players, if not outright banning them from the club and all club sponsored activities. So, cheating does not pay here. It does not pay at all. But moving on to something more fun, we played a whole bunch of disc golf this weekend, working on my form, working on putting, doing all that fun, crazy stuff, all the glamorous stuff of form work and field work and putting practice and all of that jazz, as well as course maintenance and doing all that stuff because, well, we're getting ready to host an A tier here in about a month and a half. And it's about 2 months, sorry. I'm thinking of the AM side is about a month and a half away, and 2 weeks after that is the pro side. Getting ready for that has been a challenge, but we're cleaning up the course and making sure it looks all nice and purty, making sure we got our OB lines painted, making sure all of that is well understood because, well, we'll get into that by the end of the show. That's for sure. If you have not been following what has gone on with the PDGA, well, you've been living under a rock. That's for sure. That is absolutely for sure. But that's all we have there. So, moving on, we've got our first topic here. This was posted by The Ringer. This is a disc golf article ish, niche sports, smaller sports, different sports that mostly featured Paul Macbeth. It had a few other people from bowling and archery, but for the most part, I'd say a good 2/3 of that article was all about Paul Macbeth and how he can make a substantial living from disc golf and sponsorships. So let's get into that a little bit here. Need to rearrange the windows so I can actually see my notes. But there we go. Here we go. We're going to just do that. Do that. Yep. So it really just starts out talking about when Paul Macbeth started touring in 2009 when he was 19. Turns out Paul Macbeth and I are about the same age. Where did I go wrong? Well, I did not focus my entire life on disc golf. Should have, could have, would have. I don't know. Who knows? I was barely playing disc golf at that time when he was touring. Anyway, he back then he had a hard time with making meager winnings, small tournaments, even large tournaments didn't have huge payouts. He borrowed a family car. That thing served him well for a little while before it just kind of crapped out. Sold it, got a new car, well, new to him car, beater for like $500. Didn't do well there. Barely ran, almost made it all the way home. Finally, in 2011, when he won the Memorial in Arizona, he used some of that money to buy a new Jeep Patriot. And the huge purse for that one, his grand prize winnings there were a total of $4,000. That sounds like a lot of money, but when you compare it to what they're getting now, I believe the top winner, I think the purse was around $150,000, something like that, for just this weekend for Worlds. But that's different. So after winning that, he had enough money saved up to buy a new car, and he bought himself a Jeep Patriot. Macbeth says that under occupation, he put professional athlete. He goes on to say they didn't believe me because they wouldn't let me finance it. He ended up having to pay to buy the car outright with cash. So that's a little unfortunate there because, hey, yes, he is a professional athlete, but it's not like he's an MLB player or NHL, NFL, any of that, unfortunately. We don't get the credit in disc golf quite like that, but it is a lot of fun. It is tons and tons of fun, and he is making a substantial living by doing that. He has deals with Discraft, in case you've been living under a rock. His deal is 10 years, $10 million guaranteed. Plus, he gets a portion of all the discs sold with his name and logo on it. I've heard a rumor anywhere from like $2 to $4 per disc. Well, last year he sold 250,000 discs. So that's anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million just from his disc sales. Forget about the undisclosed amount he gets from Adidas or Celsius energy drinks, also undisclosed there, but that's absolutely insane. As of 2019, only 70 professional athletes actually make $1 million a year or more from endorsements. This puts him in league with some great current athletes, including Jazz guard Mike Connolly Jr., Astros pitcher Justin Verlander, and the Bears linebacker Khalil Mack. The greatest linebackers in the world are on the Bears. Look at Urlacher. Look at Ditka. Polish sausage. In case you can't tell, I like the Chicago Bears. Grew up in the Chicago area. the Bears are the best team in the world. And well, yeah, enough with that. This is achieved through so he managed to do this through growing his brand. I mean, being the best disc golfer in the world doesn't hurt when you're trying to grow your brand, but he was able to take what they're calling this is through uh Atticure Atticure Adventures. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Basically, calling this a passion economy. You attract a large audience on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, insert social media platform for the future. Who knows what else is coming out there? You get them onto a platform that the influencer owns. So, I don't know, say a podcast. And then you turn them into paying customers through things like merch or ads. You know, I've got my substantial audience here of currently 70 YouTube subscribers, which I appreciate every single one of you. I gained like 6 or 7 in the last 2 days because of some videos, and I appreciate everything. I'm glad you guys like what I have to say. It really actually warms my heart a lot. It makes me feel like I'm doing a really good job here, and that everything like that, like what I'm doing is good. It makes me feel absolutely freaking fantastic, and everything keeps on growing. I appreciate all of you guys. So if you're out there listening right now in Twitch, on YouTube, feel free to drop a line. Say hi. Have a good time. Try to get out usually around 9 a.m. Eastern time. Things happen, unfortunately. We all know how schedules go. Getting back to the article here, coming back to it, Atticure Ventures, Atekier Ventures founder Lee Jin says that this is how influencers turn social capital into financial capital. I mean, we see it all the time. How many times do you hear about a, makeup influencer or a clothing influencer or insert topic influencer, a disc golf influencer? I actually had one of my friends who's not a disc golfer tell me that I was a disc golf influencer, and I didn't really believe them at first, but I guess, talking about disc golf, posting about disc golf, well, that tries to make me an influencer, I guess, but I digress. Let's move on. In 2020, Dynamic Discs paid over 6 figures to get their tournament, just the final round, onto CBS, which was huge. I mean, we loved it. It was great. You were able to watch it on TV. But compare that to, say, the NFL, who got $113 billion from their TV sponsorships or TV partners. They didn't have to pay. They don't have to pay. They get paid to do that. So, yeah, there's that. Average viewership for pro sports. This is MLB, NFL, NHL, and NBA combined. Pull in 29.1 million viewers slash subscribers. You know how that goes. That kind of stuff. Compare that to, say, the fun dudes over at Dude Perfect, who do trick shots, who show like ping pong and trick shots with frisbees and trick shots, just goofy sports things that just are fun to watch. They have 56 million subscribers. TV's not the ultimate destination anymore, although it is a great status symbol. It's not, you don't need that anymore. Anyone can basically start up their own live channel service. I mean, look at all the different YouTubers out there. Look at all the different, from tech to finance to politics to everything to disc golf. Look at this, disc golf. I'm making a disc golf video. I'm doing this live. And if you set up a schedule and say that, hey, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. I'm going to be on, or some of these other people who have more topics to talk about or things like that, you're on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday through Friday, or whatever, or you have a very consistent YouTube upload schedule, you don't need TV to make a living and make money. It doesn't hurt, but you don't need it anymore. Enter in 2019 Brody Smith, who brought with him 2 million YouTube subscribers, as well as over 1 million Twitter and Instagram followers. I bring him up because he's on Team Discraft with Paul Macbeth, and Brody is basically forcing the disc golf community to actually make a better brand for themselves, build up their platforms, and just get out there. Paul Macbeth and Brody Smith are both, they're good friends. They play for the same team. And on top of that, Paul had this to say through the article. Brody has made everyone in disc golf up their YouTube game. He's inspired me a lot. We used to try to find the time to post videos when we could. Now we make the time. It's become a priority. Trying to get your name out there, get your brand out there, get all that fun stuff, do all that stuff, grow your brand, make some money, and on top of that, grow the sport. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's so much fun. I really enjoy making these videos and doing all this stuff, growing my brand, quote unquote, and growing my financial coffers, which I think I'm still in the red big time for this, technically. But that's a whole different story. That's just me having fun here. I don't really care. I really love doing this stuff. It's a bunch of fun. The article is a great read. I'll have the link in the description after this, as well as when I upload this on the podcast. That will be theringer.com, and then it'll probably still be one of the top articles as long as you go there in the next day or two. And otherwise, I'll have the link directly to the article. It's a great read. They also talk about one of the best bowlers and how he does some trick shots, collaborated with Dude Perfect. Brody Smith also collaborated with Dude Perfect. And yeah, that's about it there. Moving on. Yeah. Do those, I will definitely write off those tax issues there. Welcome, sir, to watching the live version of the show. Hope you're enjoying it and hope my audio sounds all right. Had to mess around with a few things, so I honestly have no idea if this sounds good or sounds like crap. But hey, that's just how it goes here. We do have some USDGC, that's the United States Disc Golf Championship Men's Pro Open Division qualifiers. This comes courtesy of Ultiworld, discgolf.ultiworld.com. We have Cale LaVisca currently rated 1030, PDGA 24341 from Little Canada, Minnesota, eh? He hasn't played in a USDGC since 2013, yet he has qualified every year since 2013. He's consistently qualified every single year. And I don't know why he doesn't play. But yeah. I know that. So going back here, Machiavellian. Yeah, that Brody Smith was real huge, and I looked up to him when I was playing Ultimate way back in like end of high school into college. So it's been a while since that. It's just kind of funny to look back at some of those old videos of Brody and just YouTube in general. Some of these older videos from about 10 years ago, and you're like, whoa, YouTube has changed. First of all, the compression and quality of YouTube in general has just gone through the roof. Forget the technology of just having, like, on my phone right here, I've got a 4K camera that can shoot 60 frames per second. Forget all that stuff. Just like, it's crazy how things have gone up. Moving on to another player who is qualified for USDGC is Cameron Cole Glazier, rated 1025, PDGA 47401 from Mobile, Alabama. We also have Corey Ellis, 1015 rated, 44512 from Barbersville, West Virginia. We also have Matt Hammerston, 1023 rated, 81781, Woodbridge, VA. And not to be left out, Dallin Blanchard, 1037 rated, 72707 from Idaho Falls, Idaho. I try to say Idahalls. Idahalls, Udahalls, we all Dahalls. I don't know. Moving on to the FPO, which is the Throw Pink US WDGC, basically. It is a different version of USDGC, which I think will probably go over a lot better than what happened with USDGC, which made a video on that one about Paige Pierce calling out the PDGA for basically giving the women the shaft on how their tournament was set up and how it is basically, it's like they don't care about women's disc golf, essentially. And I actually really enjoy watching the women play. I mean, it's been fun to watch Paige Pierce, Katrina Allen, Sarah Hokum, Macy Walker, Madison Walker, all the fantastic ladies there. But getting back to this, we also have qualifying here is Kristin Tatar, who is 962 rated, 73986 from Parnu, Estonia. I apologize. Currently only touring through the US through the beginning of August, so who knows if this is going to change anything for her there. Um, I don't know if that is going to change anything for her plans there. She is touring with her partner Silva or Silver, I can't remember, but also qualified for USDGC. And who knows if they're going to change their flight plans, change anything like that, and get out to play this national championship. Missy Gannon also qualified, 954 rated, 85942 from Beacon, New York. Those are all of our. She said she's gonna. Ah, yes. Uh-oh. What? Audio stream's current bit rate is 0. Lower than the bit. Apparently, YouTube is saying that you've got no audio for that stream. So if you guys could let me know if you can still hear me, that'd be great because I don't always believe YouTube. But that's that. And she said she's going to concentrate on some old energy. Okay, well, you're still hearing me. Thank you, YouTube. Audio stream's current bitrate is 0. They recommend at least 128 bits per second. Thank you, YouTube. Now I see what some of those bigger YouTubers talk about when going live. On Twitch, I'm still doing absolutely fantastic. So there's that. Machiavellian says, I love watching the women's pro disc golf because I have a weaker arm. So watching the guys bomb throws I could never throw isn't fun to watch. It is, I think it's a little fun to watch some of these guys throw like 600 feet just because it's insane. Like Eagles 700-foot roller, which was just absolutely insane a couple weeks ago. But yeah, generally speaking, I like watching the women's disc golf because it's much closer to my game than the men's. Although, I mean, talking about watching all this stuff, let's talk about James Conrad because first of all, did you see his ace to begin with on hole 16? I'm trying to remember here. I got a lot of different holes in my head. Not to mention that I'm also thinking about a bunch of disc golf holes. But James Conrad just chipping away that whole tournament didn't really like. I want to say he didn't really do too many special things up until the end there, but he played a very good, consistent game. And Paul McBeth also played a very good, consistent game. He had a 1-stroke lead going into hole 18. James Conrad, on his card, did not do so well. He ended up hitting a tree early, which put him about 250 feet out from the basket. McBeth throws his shot, lays it up for basically a tap-in. I mean, let's face it, anything inside the circle with McBeth is a tap-in for the most part. So there's that. However, James Conrad's like, well, I got nothing to lose. I'm 250 feet away. I've got a 3-stroke lead over third place. So basically, I've got second place locked up. No problem. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go for it. He takes out his Envy, which I believe is a putter, throws this around the dog leg, throws this beautiful turnover backhand because James Conrad does not throw forehand. If he's throwing forehand, you know it's bad. It's really bad if you know he's going to be throwing a forehand. So he throws this beautiful backhand turnover shot and drains it. 250 feet out, just drains it. It was, if you haven't seen that video, again, you've been living under a rock. And it's everywhere on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun jazz. But you can, in one of the videos, I forget who had it. I don't know if it was Gatekeeper, Disc Golf Network, or just somebody else. You could see Paul McBeth went through a wide range of emotions in about 5 seconds, if that. Because he was like, he was excited because, I mean, he threw it in from 250 feet. Like, that's just exciting. And then he went, ah, crap, now I got a playoff. Ah, crap, I blew this. Just like this whole rage of like, yeah, wait, I can't cheer for him. We're playing against each other right now. But that's the fun thing about disc golf is like you can appreciate a great shot like that. It was insane. Macbeth played very, very, very well as he did. That's what he does. It's Paul Macbeth. He just plays insanely good. And he only made one or two mistakes that really didn't hurt him too much. It was just James Conrad played just that much better, forced that playoff. In the playoff, Macbeth, his Spikeheiser ends up rolling OB long into the water, tries to go for it, ends up missing that, basically giving James an easy win off of that and for the playoff in terms of that. But it was exciting to watch. It was so much fun. Like, go check out the recaps on Jomez, on Gatekeeper. Rewatch all of Disc Golf Network's coverage if you can, because that whole thing was great. And currently, the only MVP discs that I have are, oh god, it was a super light one. I think it's a Tesla. It's like 150 grams that I got when I initially signed up for the PDGA, my membership, which we'll get into that and see if I renew it this next year. I don't know. That's the problem. However, I have nothing against MVP. They do a good job. I'm currently with Team Trilogy, so that's Dynamic, West Side, and Latitude 64. So I don't plan on changing anytime soon because let's face it, James Conrad was doing great, and then he switched to MVP, and then there was like that 6-month gap where he dropped because he's learning his disc. I'm not saying he's a bad disc golfer or anything like that, but when you change over your entire bag, it takes a little time to get things broken in, to really feel confident in your discs. On top of that, yeah, he was throwing and practicing and doing all that fun stuff. And when you're he was doing all that fun stuff when he was ba, 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 in the off season. Words are hard sometimes, losing your train of thought. He was doing all that stuff, and it just, it takes time, like I said, to learn your discs, to learn your plastic, to learn your new bag. It's not that he just got one or two new discs. He got, I don't know how many he carries. If he's like any of the other pros, he carries at least 20 different discs with him in various states of wear and tear. So it just takes time. He might have 3 different drivers that he likes that he's trying to break into various different stages, and that just takes time. And unfortunately, that's something he doesn't have. And I do like their plastic. It feels good. I just I think MVP is going to now find it even harder to keep things in stock after Conrad's win, which that was a huge get for them this offseason. I mean, he was a great player to begin with, don't get me wrong. But now to show that he has this world title with him too, right after switching, 6-8 months after switching to MVP, boy, I do not want to go. I really don't want to go over and try to find MVP at this point because they're going to be sold out everywhere. And that's not a bad thing at all. I think as I've said, and as a few people in chat here have said, it's a that's a good problem. Like, they have great stuff, and it's a good problem to have, not being able to keep things in stock like that. Moving on to the women's side, Katrina Allen wins Worlds as Paige Pierce kind of gave it up. Not trying to take anything away from Katrina Allen's win, but it was like, I know they were kind of going back and forth, but she had a 2-stroke lead on Katrina going at hole 16. The MVP Open. Oh my God. Oh wow. Machiavellian says that the MVP Open James Conrad envies are going for over $400 on eBay right now. He got his last month at $100. So, I mean, I'd be tempted to flip that. I bought it for $100. I sell it for $400, and I don't know, give it maybe a month, and you could probably get it for $100 again, a month or two, depending on how he does. I mean, obviously, if he keeps up this winning streak, it's gonna be, it's still gonna be difficult to find. But yeah, that's just crazy. It ended up so the women's side ended up turning uh into a shootout basically between the two very talented women because let's face it, unfortunately, it seems like there is a bit of a talent gap towards at the top of the women's division. You've got Katrina Allen and Paige Pierce always going back and forth. You've got the newcomer Macy Walker, who really did a fantastic job recently, but is not touring. I think next year, if Dynamic Discs is smart, and if they've learned anything from when they lost both Paige and Ricky, I think they're going to learn to keep her and try to keep her happy because I think she's going to be a powerhouse there. I think she can get up there and compete with Katrina and Paige, as well as, all the other top women. I think we've got a huge influx of women just over the horizon that are going to really deepen the field, which is the problem right now on the FPO side. You've got Paige and Katrina, and then third place, there's a bit of a drop off, but once you get down to like seventh, eighth place, that drop off is steep, unfortunately. On the men's side, there's so many dudes that play, so it's not hard to find talent there. So hopefully that'll help deepen things up there. Oh man, I should try to sell my PDGA Tesla because I don't throw that thing and it's basically brand new. I wonder how much I'd get for that. Um, but back to the FPO side with Katrina's win. There are some great impressive C2 putts. Sarah Hokum's fun to watch too. I'm a forehand dominant player, not as much as Sarah Hokum. Sarah Hokum is forehand only. She's basically the inverse James Conrad. If she's throwing a backhand, she's in deep trouble. Um, versus James Conrad, if he's throwing a forehand, he's in deep trouble. She's definitely fun to watch. I'm more forehand dominant, so watching some of them like and Big Germ just go, oh yeah, I'd probably take that line. Oh, that's a cool line. Oh, backhands? Who needs a backhand for distance shots? But on hole 17, Paige hit an early tree, ends up in the rough, gets out, hits another tree, ends up taking a bogey. Katrina Allen was pinched off behind a tree on hole 17 after her tee shot, but manages to get to C2 from a kneeling forehand and take the easy par right there. Hole 18, Paige unfortunately sailed her approach shot long and OB, and it sounded like she was harassed a little bit by a kid. Maybe not harassed, but razzed by a kid who doesn't quite understand what's going on. And so things that kind of messed her up a little bit, but unfortunately those things happen. She missed a circle two bogey save. Circuit 2 bogey save. Words are hard. When you're talking on an audio podcast here, words are hard. She hit the band, and Katrina Allen laid up to take her par after Paige's double bogey. It was very emotional, very upsetting, but it kind of happens, unfortunately. But that's how it goes. Hopefully, Junior Worlds will be just as exciting, if not more exciting, and maybe better well run. Junior Worlds is a Phase 3 event, which means things are essentially normal. You got to buy your pass, you got to do that, recommend social distancing, blah, blah, blah. It is July 4th through the 10th in Emporia, Kansas. I think next year it will be changing locations. Don't quote me on that. Normal spectators and caddies allowed for the most part. Got to buy your pass, got to do all that stuff. Essentially, it is a normal event. We have a couple players from the Fort Wayne area going to Junior World, so hopefully they do well. I was trying to get an interview with them before we could get out, before they leave, but unfortunately timing didn't line up, and we'll try again when they come back, hopefully with a W, but you never know because we have some players that are playing in the same division, so there can only be one winner. This is Highlander-style disc golf. Only one can survive in each division. Now for the main event here. This is a topic that I've already created two separate videos on. One of them is kind of related to this, sort of. Paige Pierce calling out the PDGA with the way USWDGC was handled. I lump it into this because it was brought back up by the fearless PDGA president. Justin, not even going to attempt your last name because I always mess it up. And things have not gone so well there. On top of that, I talked about Brody renting out the entire warm-up area, the driving range at Mulligan's golf course, because yeah, let's get into this. Brody paid $1,000 to rent out the whole driving range at Mulligan's rather than just half of it. There's a huge Facebook discussion on how the PDGA has dropped the ball over the years when it comes to this. Some people through this Facebook thread blamed TDs, event organizers, and sponsors. I'm not sure how sponsors factor into that, but I haven't hosted a major event like this. So I'm not 100% certain how that would factor in, but it is what it is. The OB at Mulligan's was unclear, and this was apparently a criticism at the Utah Open as well, and they didn't do anything to really fix that. I would assume that it's the same TD running both of those. I don't know if there might have been some issues with Mulligan saying, no, you can't paint on our golf courses. That could have been a rule there, but then that the night of the first round, the PDGA went out and just did it. So that was something that was interesting. There are some people who are pretty pissed off about the way that was handled, including Eagle McMahon, who had a nice post on that one, thanking the TD and all that stuff, and, kind of also calling out the PDGA. On top of that, unfortunately, some people were, throwing some hate towards the TD, and they posted on their official TD website, like, hey, we did not do this. The PDGA came in and did this without our knowledge. So don't yell at me. Like, I know that once it starts, basically once the tournament starts, the course is set. Like, you can't change things unless there's some major hazard issue. Like, all of a sudden, like, player goes over into an area that's not OB, and there's one of those ground bee nests, and then you mark that off and go, hey, don't go over there unless you want to get stung. Hopefully you're not allergic to bees. Other issues, like the tee times for round one were posted very late, and that one blows my mind. Like, I get it that you kind of wait until the last day because you never know, people are going to drop last minute and that kind of stuff, so you wait, but have that stuff up like at least, I don't know, by noon the day before, maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, somewhere in there, because tee offs are generally around 7:30 in the morning. The lower rated players tee off pretty early for these. So why it took them so long, I don't know. That would lead me to believe that is more of a TD issue, but who knows? It could be related to the PDGA. I'm not giving them really a pass on that one. Zachary Johnson was hit by a golf ball while practicing because, I don't know, there's an oversight with how the course was rented out or how the PDGA set things up or something. I don't know. Now, this one will get your blood boiling. This is from Danny Voss, the PDGA Director of Marketing. So he is paid by the PDGA. This is not a volunteer position. This is a paid position. When the Utah Open was a Pro Tour event, the warm-up area was the same setup used then. This was really the first we'd heard about players wanting to be able to air the disc out down the range. Has he even played a tournament before? Seriously, like, maybe it was a Pro Tour event, maybe it was kind of set up like that, but this is Worlds. Like, really? Just because someone didn't say anything about that at the Utah Open before? Seriously? Like, you really think, like, God, the tone deaf, the lack of awareness, like, throw that on top of the comments from the PDGA president of Brody being a jerk and Paige is self-serving. I just, like, I don't get it. And on top of that, in that interview, he's wearing a t-shirt and sunglasses indoors. You're representing me. You're representing the PDGA. You're representing the pros, the amateurs, everybody who pays all this stuff. Like, dude, come on. Like, put a collared shirt. I have a collared shirt on. I got my logo on it. You can see if I go this way. Yeah, Joe's Disc Golf right there. Got my nice little logo, and it's on the back too. The same one that's on Twitch and YouTube. I'm not going to turn around to show it because I don't have. It won't go well. But anyway, like, seriously, like, I just, you're representing all of us. I'm not saying you have to wear a 3-piece suit. Wear a collared shirt. Wear a polo shirt. Wear an unbuttoned, regular collared shirt, long sleeve collared shirt. Just try to look professional. You're representing us. The hosts of that podcast, you can do what you want. It's your podcast. You're trying to create an image that you want. That's how you want to present yourself. That's fine. You want to be a discount disrespect? Dr. Disrespect? Go for it. Wear sunglasses indoors. I don't care. You're not one of the Blues Brothers, and you're not Dr. Disrespect, so whatever. Jordan had this to say. Paul talked about this on the Nick and Matt show. That is not the case at all. If there isn't an actual driving range available, all the players literally find the nearest field and practice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I do for local C tiers. Like, if that's what I'm doing as an amateur player at a C tier, I can only imagine what the routine and warm up is like for a pro at touring pro at Worlds. Yeah, for them to say that the players never use the range is just false. I agree. I think in this case they're specifically talking about the Utah Open, but I don't know. I would assume the same thing. Like, if they're not going to, I mean, these guys bomb it and they need to warm up. I mean, sports medicine is my thing. If Eagle goes out and his first throw of the day is a 600-foot hyzer shot, like, he's asking for an arm injury. That it's not an if, it's a when. Maybe you could get away with it every now and then. It happens, but you do need a thorough warm up. Going out, there's a reason why. Look at the MLB. I would say that'd probably be the closest comparison. How long do those pitchers warm up before the game? During the game, how long does a reliever warm up? It's a long time. And they're constantly kind of warming up and staying warm. Like, they'll all warm up kind of at the beginning of the game, in the first couple innings, just throw, stay loose. They don't throw full out up until, they're getting close to going in. But still, they do stuff. They're constantly moving their shoulder. They're moving their body. They're getting ready because it is a very violent action. It is a ballistic move. Disc golf is similar in that respect, where you need to go out and do this stuff. If not just for mental reasons, for physical. Like, to go out and just go cold and do that, you are going to hurt yourself. And you think that Paul Macbeth is just going to let that go? Or Brody, or Simon, or Paige, or Sarah, or any of those pro tour players? Struggling with some words here because I'm just getting fired up. Got to get it. It blows my mind. It's like these guys have never played disc golf before. And I don't know, maybe the director of marketing, since it's a paid position, maybe he hasn't. But I'd like to think that he would pull his head out of his rear end and pay attention to the sport, learn it. Because I have a friend who works marketing for a dental company. And before that, he worked in hotel and hospitality marketing. He learned how to market for dentists. It's a little bit different than going to a hotel. So, dude, like, come on. Now, here's another great quote from the director of marketing, Danny Voss. Given the feedback we received from the players after Brody's post, the PDGA worked with Mulligans to reserve the other half of the range for the remainder of the event. This not only helped us provide an amenity requested by the players, but also afforded the same opportunity for the pools to have the same warm-up area for subsequent rounds. We discussed the adjustment with Brody after his first round and offered to reimburse him the money he paid the disc golf course for the other half of the range. He declined the offer, so instead we'll add that at least will add at least that back, back, back into the payout to be distributed to the players. So they took the money from the purse to try to pay for this. Like, seriously, guys. Like, I even looked it up. There is a 3-page and like 6 lines on a 4th page checklist for the PDGA and the TD. Because I don't, and it's like things weren't followed. Yeah, he declined because the reimbursement was going to be from the purse. Yeah. It was like people were trying to make a big deal about him declining the money and going, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. That would be taking money away from the payouts to all the players. My assumption is it would have been 500 from the men's side and 500 from the women's side. So, yeah, at the top, it's not going to make that big of a deal. $500 split out over that. But you get down to those people who are at the bottom portion of that 40% who get paid. That's huge. That's going to be way bigger. I mean, I don't get it. Like, the comments, I mean, the president, yeah, I'm rotating off the board, so I'm just going to let my opinions fly. Dude, seriously, like, you're representing us. I don't understand. Fair few people have mentioned that they're probably not going to renew their PDGA membership this year for this upcoming year, and that'd be a great way to vote with your wallet and show them that, like, hey, we don't appreciate what you're doing. What you're doing sucks. You need to pull your head out of your ass and work on this. Like, basic things like should be mandatory, a designated practice warm-up area for all the Pro Tour, National Tour, Silver Series, all the pro events like that, majors, all that. You need to set aside some large area, 700 feet long for sure, for all the players to warm up. Forget just and also an area for them to warm up putting. It sounds like there's only 4 practice baskets, and I have never been to a pro tour event. However, watching like Disc Golf Network coverage, like the Memorial, I counted at least 6 baskets when they just cut over to Ricky warming up putting. And that's all you could see. That's not including how many ever were there. That's just what you could see right there at that moment. So it's like, guys, we need some consistency across all these pro tour events. Honestly, the PDGA should just give up all of that and let the DGPT take over. I think they've been doing a great job with it. Now, I could be wrong with some of this, and maybe part of it is the Pro Tours, Disc Golf Pro Tours problem. Maybe it's problems because of the PDGA. I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos where the MLB has nothing to do with Little League Baseball. The MLB has nothing to do with high school or college baseball. NFL has nothing to do with college and high school and peewee football and so on and so forth. Yeah, they might sponsor some camps here and there and do all that stuff, but they're separate organizations. We need to separate out the pro side of the PDGA, get that out, make that part of the make that Disc Golf Pro Tour, call it something else, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And then on top of that, you need to go over and just have the AM side. And, you know, sometimes the rules from the NFL trickle down if it's a good idea. Sometimes it trickles up from high school to college up that way. And maybe there are some slight variations, slight differences between how the AMs play and how the pros play. Maybe on the pro tour, the circle is bigger. Instead of 33, it's 45. You know, it's not uncommon. The 3-point line for high school, college, and pros, different. So I just don't know. Like I think that is the answer. And I think all of us as a collective, as PDGA paying members, next time the Board of Elections comes, we really need to pay attention. We need to look past just what the little blurb that they write about themselves. Obviously, you know, some things don't change, like your job, you know, how long you've played disc golf, that kind of stuff. But we really need to start interviewing and almost have at least one debate or something, answer some questions that these different board members that we elect, so we know how they answer. I'm not saying this has to get like into huge political, like, obviously politics always gets involved because people are people and politics is a dirty dirty swear word essentially. I'm not saying this has to turn into like the presidential debate where you have 5 debates and this and that and all this crap. And I'm saying like we need to get them out more. We need more podcasts to reach out and interview them and find out the differences between their leadership styles and what they're going to do for the PDGA and what they're going to do for us as paying members. I mean, they make a ton of money just off of memberships. I'm debating on renewing my membership. The problem is I play enough tournaments where that added $10 if you're non-PDGA member. I play usually 6-7 tournaments, so that's going to add up. That extra $10. That's an extra $70. But at the same time, I don't want to give them money, but that $10 fee then that ends up giving them more money. But yeah. And the rating system, oh my god. 1,000 rated is not as impressive as it used to be because of just rating inflation. That's what it is. Because you have these propagators, you go out and you have, Ricky and Paul have had a couple tournaments, and when I say I mean still top 5, just not winning. And then you get some other guys who come up and win, and like Adam Hams went ham out there and just totally dominated, and his rating is lower than those guys, so that just screws up all the rating systems, all the propagators, all those issues. Like, I don't know how to fix that problem. I don't know what's a great way to do that. And yeah, James Conrad shows you don't have to be a 1050 to win Worlds. I mean, also look at Nate Sexton. He's older and he got third. Like, he's someone who hasn't been doing all that much. Like, he's getting back out touring and doing all that stuff and having fun with that. But, like, that's not someone you really hear about all that often. And now, like, he's doing well. And Worlds is just an interesting time. Lots of stuff can happen. I really think that the PDGA needs to separate those different things. And UDisc leaderboards replacing maybe? I'm not sure. I haven't really looked too much into the UDisc leaderboards outside of like local course leaderboard kind of stuff. I really don't know what the right answer is. Because there needs to be a major overhaul of the current rating system, because like I said, 1,000 rated is not, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but it's not what it used to be, where it's like, oh my god, Paul Macbeth is 1,005 rated or whatever, that's insane, that's awesome. Now it's like, well, yeah, there are a couple guys in the club I'm with that are 1,000 rated, and it's like, yeah, they're good, but I don't look at them at the same way I would look at Ricky or Paul or Simon. I think Simon's back over 1,000. I don't know, because of injury stuff and having all those issues. But, those guys. Yeah, it's difficult. That's not kind of my area of expertise. I don't know how you would do it. I don't know. I mean, let's take a page out of the PGA tour, the PGA event, and how they do ratings and stuff. I know scratch golfing is very different than how we end up doing things. Like, there's just so much to talk about. It's frustrating, just to say the least. Like, it is super, super frustrating. And I don't know what like I said, I don't know what the answer is. Let's see, yeah. But that's all I've got. Hopefully you all enjoyed the show. This has been a great time. I appreciate everybody who's been out here watching and listening. I'm going to get this up hopefully shortly. If you want to catch a recap and don't want to stare at my ugly mug, you can go to anchor.fm/Joe's Disc Golf to catch the full episode. I forgot to hit record, so I have to wait for YouTube to process it to download it because, derp moves here and there. We're all human, right? You can also find me on social media, which I have a feeling some of you found me over there. That would be through at Joe's Disc Golf, and let's see, at Joe's Disc Golf for Instagram, Twitter, and the link for the Discord channel on YouTube through Nightbot has kind of not done so well here. It's broken, unfortunately, but let me see if I can get that. I don't want to edit this. Discord, just make it easy for me to share. Please? Please, Discord? I just want to share this. Meeting, members list. I don't care. I will work on getting that out there. Let's do this. But thank you all again for watching and sharing and just hanging out here, having a grand old time, having a great discussion. And I do have a stream schedule. It is, generally speaking, 9 a.m. on Tuesdays, and enable community. I don't know what that does. Invites. Nope. Members. I will get this eventually. Roles when you're server template moderation. Nope. I will get this hopefully out there shortly, and invite people. How about I hit that one? Copy. There we go. Let's do that. And let's do that. So generally 9 a.m. Hopefully this all works. And expire after never. No limit. Okay. So I'll have to adjust Nightbot, but other than that, we'll be good. Thank you all again. As always, I've been Joe. You've been awesome. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Find me on social medias, on Twitter, on Facebook. We do have a website, joesdiscgolf.com. It's okay. I'm working on it. I'm not a web guy. I'm not a web administrator, that kind of stuff. So that makes it a little hard for me trying to get everything up, but WordPress makes it a little bit easier. So again, thank you all for watching. Catch this back on 9 a.m. on Tuesday mornings. That is Eastern Standard Time. If not, 9:30, 9:45, somewhere in that 9 a.m. region. Never earlier, always later, unfortunately. But thank you all again for watching. Have a great day. Have a great week. Hopefully you get out there and play some disc golf. And I will hopefully have any recaps of any tournaments coming up here. Again, have a great day, and I'll see you all later in the next video.